Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm Sameera, and I'm thrilled that you're here today for our webinar, How to Switch from Legacy Security Awareness Training to Modern Human Risk Management. Before we get started, a couple quick housekeeping items. Today's session is being recorded, so you'll get the replay after the event. To keep things smooth, all microphones will be muted, and if you have any questions during the presentation, drop them into the Q&A function, and our team will follow up with a response after the webinar. With that, let's jump in. By way of quick introduction, I'm Sameera and I'm on Doppel's product marketing team. I'm joined today by Tamir Samman, VP of Go-to-Market for Doppel Labs. As you all know, attacks today are complex, multi-vector, and happening now. With the rise of Gen AI, the risk of social engineering attacks is now more present than ever before. It used to be a single email or suspicious website, and now attackers are chaining together emails, SMS messages, social channels, and voice to create entire ecosystems of deception that are designed to feel real at every touch point. And these attacks are not static. They're adapting at every turn to keep the pressure on the target and to keep the urgency high at every step of the way. So the new attack surface isn't just your infrastructure, it's human trust, it's your people. And we've seen this play out across headlining examples, like the scattered spider attack on MGM even years ago that paralyzed slot machines and left the hotel elevators out of service for over a week. This is just one example of the many social engineering attacks we see today that are exploiting people as the first line of defense and the first way into an organization. These attacks are no longer relying on brute forcing their way into company systems. They're exploiting human behavior to gain legitimate access and then move laterally, ultimately doing damage that costs organizations billions. And no amount of technical controls can hold up if an employee grants an attacker access to a system that they use every day. And ultimately, legacy tools just can't keep up in this environment. Attackers are moving faster, wider, and smarter than traditional defenses were built to handle. AI agents are exploiting exposures in minutes, far faster than humans can respond. And static training content or generic simulation templates are no match for the speed at which attackers are evolving their tactics today. They're operating 24/7 and at infinite scale, so quarterly campaigns designed to satisfy compliance checkboxes simply are not enough and leave organizations exposed to critical blind spots. And agentic AI is allowing attackers to operate with unmatched sophistication. The attacks today pivot and adapt in real time when they're blocked, so they're exploiting people in a much more convincing way than ever before. So you know it's time to make a change. But where to start? So many technology deployments stagnate or stall because of lack of planning or buying decisions get postponed due to a lack of internal buy-in. So let's walk through a step-by-step guide for how to make the switch from legacy security awareness training to modern human risk management. The first step is setting the stage internally. The focus here will be on getting your team on board with the idea, aligning with what you need most as a business, and picking the right solution for your specific needs. You'll start by establishing the premise that the model must flip. Generic email-only simulation templates won't cut it, and checkbox training just is not enough anymore. Ultimately, this is a shift from a reactive model to a proactive approach that centers around threat-informed simulations, personalized behavior and role-based training, and measurable risk reduction and behavioral change. Instead of tracking completions, compliance checkboxes, and email click rates, your goal is to build a program that puts your team in the driver's seat of your defenses and empowers your people to be the most resilient frontline possible. Those are the principles that are at the center of what we're building at Doppel. Our human risk management solution centers around multi-channel, threat-informed simulations, modern, customized training content built for every role, behavior pattern, industry, or even company milestone, and risk modeling that gives you a clear picture of where risk lies and how it moves within your organization. This is all underpinned by Doppel's threat intelligence, insights from actual threats happening in the wild, and OSINT. To fully set the stage internally, you need to help your team understand that the best way to protect against actual threats is through a social engineering defense program that builds resilience against the attacks that are happening in the world today. So now that you've secured buy-in from your team, it's time to start implementing your new HRM solution. I'm going to hand it over to Tamir to take us through a quick demo of how you can set up your first simulation campaigns and start getting in-depth insights in just a few minutes. Over to you, Tamir.
Thanks, Sameera. Getting started with Doppel HRM is an incredibly low lift. We have customers who are able to start the very day that they sign up for Doppel. We built out a full integrations manager that allows for integrating with your IDP or people management system as easy as just a few clicks in a prompt. Once you've integrated your IDP or people management system with our HRM tool, now it's time to launch a campaign. Doppel HRM has allowed campaign creation to be done in under 60 seconds. What I'm going to do today is walk you through how easy it is to launch a campaign from scratch. As soon as your instance is turned on, Doppel's agents, called Recon, begin searching through LinkedIn and Google for context about your organization and automatically begin creating custom templates just for your organization. I'm going to go ahead and launch a new campaign, and we're going to title this AWS Suspicious Activity. And now it's time to select a channel. As Sameera mentioned, we want to move beyond just email. We want you to be able to identify risk and build resilience across wherever your employees are communicating. So that includes, of course, email, but large-scale direct SMS campaigns in which over 25,000 text messages can be sent in any given week, to Telegram, to large-scale voice campaigns that support over 200,000 voice calls any given week, to even Microsoft Teams meetings and Zoom meetings where an employee will receive both an email invite and a calendar invite that lands on their calendar, in which by clicking either link, they're met with a live AI agent that can take on the persona of anyone within your organization. That's right, live deepfakes are live on Doppel HRM. For this scenario, I'm going to go ahead and select voice and select email as a multi-step follow-up. All of our campaigns are multi-step in nature, or can be multi-step in nature. The reason we've done this is because that's exactly what threat actors are doing. Threat actors are never just sending a phishing email. They're building an entire attack chain that may originate from Telegram, or maybe perhaps text, or it might originate from an email followed up by a voice call. We want you to have that level of programmability for your simulation campaigns. I also mentioned that we support large-scale voice campaigns. One of the biggest drivers of adoption for us has actually been supporting contact centers, both external as well as internal help desks. And what that means in practice is that our voice agents are pre-trained to navigate complex IVR trees. They're able to navigate line switches, hold times. They can tell the difference between the human voice on the human operator versus the automated system. You don't have to worry about configuring that yourself. This works out of the box, pre-trained for these complex scenarios. You, of course, have the ability now in a multi-channel manner, create set it and forget it annual campaigns, or you can run recurring campaigns just as you would for email. But again, this has now been made available in a multi-channel environment. Next step of this workflow is to select your voice agent, or if this was a deepfake video, select your avatar. For voice agents, we have stock agents that are readily available, pre-trained on thousands of hours of audio data. And we also have the ability to create custom voice clones. So for this scenario, I'm going to go ahead and select my custom voice clone. All of our voice agents can speak over 70 languages, and anything that's text-based supports over 100 languages. The time savings there is that you no longer have to run a global campaign for every single jurisdiction you operate your business in. You no longer have to manually translate your English campaigns into Japanese or your Japanese campaigns into French. You can now just create one global campaign, and Doppel's automations will automatically configure the local language of your target user through your integration of your IDP or people management system. I would also add we support international numbers in all 50 states, so lots of flexibility in what number is being leveraged for the campaign itself. Next step of this workflow is to select the users. So once you've integrated into your IDP or people management system, you can run automated new hire trainings or new hire simulations. You can automate campaigns based upon risk. You can run campaigns based upon who reports to who, so by manager. And of course, you can run campaigns based upon, most importantly, the actual behaviors of your employees. For this one, we'll keep it simple. I'm going to select myself as a target user, and now it's time to select a template. We've built over 1,000 templates. These are threat-informed templates based upon the actual threats targeting our customers every single day. Doppel is in a unique position as a social engineering defense company. Because we're ingesting billions of entities across the internet every single day, we have access to information that allows us to not just build these abstract cookie cutter campaigns, but campaigns that are actually rooted in the actual threats targeting your organization. On top of that, and I mentioned this in the opening, through our feature Recon, we have AI agents that will run searches onto LinkedIn and Google and pull in context such as job promotions, company events, tech stack leaks through job postings. And from day one, you have a whole set of custom templates built for you. This is a recurring deep research job that our AI agents are running. So you're constantly going to see new templates built just for you by our AI agents. You never have to start from scratch again. Additionally, through a feature we call Vibe Phishing Simulation, with just a few prompts, you can build from scratch an entire campaign scenario just by entering in basic prompts, just in the same way that you'd use Claude or ChatGPT. So for this scenario, we're going to go ahead and stick with this AWS theme here. And now it's time to tie it to remedial training. So this, of course, is optional. You can run campaigns without training, but of course, you can always tie in remedial training. We'll get into this in a moment, but we'll actually suggest to you training content based upon the nature of the campaign itself. So the employees who are in the campaign, as well as the actual attack scenario of the campaign. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and select social engineering supplier portals. And you can even go so far as to customize what the actual fail is, whether that's a data submission, a link click, maybe perhaps you're running a malware type scenario where you're trying to track whether the employees are downloading or interacting with the attached files. You can also configure it so that you're tracking consecutive link clicks, or the fail is consecutive data submissions. And just like that, we just built a campaign in just under a few minutes. I'd like to spend a little bit of time on training, and then we'll dive into risk modeling and insights. Doppel has a wide array of content made available for you. This is going to include interactive videos, immersive environments, to generative AI videos, deepfake content, all the way to more traditional long-form videos. One big theme here we've heard from our customers is pushing for micro learnings, TikTok style training content. That's all certainly available. The last thing I would add is all of this can be customized to your brand, your aesthetic, your logo. You're the star of the show, not Doppel. So we want this content to be aligned with your brand and your content. On top of that, we have the ability to create custom content directly into the app using our AI content builder, where you can drag and drop your company policies, or maybe perhaps a dark reading article or a thought leadership post that you saw on LinkedIn, and you're off to the races. You can select the interactive elements that you'd like to include in your course. That can include generative AI video, that can include a quiz, that can include a poll, a summary, flip cards. The sky's the limit in terms of what you're able to build using our AI content builder. Additionally, we have 4 deployed content engineers, and these are folks who work full-time for Doppel. They will sit down with you during implementation, as well as throughout the course, the life cycle of your partnership with Doppel, and actually build out an entire library of custom content built just for you. The last thing I would add is all of our content is SCORM compatible, so can integrate neatly with your existing LMS. We also have integrations directly into a large array of LMS providers. So you can either use Doppel as your LMS, or we can meet you where you are and leverage your existing tools and deliver content through the platforms you're already using today while maintaining the data integrity of each employee, part of that training campaign that you've launched. All right, we've talked about multi-channel simulations. We dove into training content. Lastly, I'd like to walk you through our risk modeling and insights module. Doppel is able to track data beyond just click rates and data submissions. While we recognize, though, that you still need to report upwards data submissions and click rates. And so one thing I would just point out there is we're not just tracking click rates and data submissions over email. You're now able to track those data submissions and click rates in a multi-channel manner, giving you visibility into activity that you've never had before. So for instance, if you're running an SMS campaign, you now have the ability to track click rates across that large scale text message campaign that you just ran across the organization and quantify the risk there and establish a baseline. On top of that, we have, of course, training insights that are able to track, so training completion rates, who's pending on training, and most importantly is the ability to see in great detail every employee's risk score and risk profile across the entire organization. So if I were to dive into my own risk profile here, the first thing that you'll see is a breakdown of my risk score, which is sitting at a 26. You can see my link click rate. You can see the severe actions I've taken. You can see my training pass rate. You can even see how fast I'm clicking into the links across all these different channels. I'm tracking at 11 minutes for my first click, as well as even greater detail in terms of previous activity and all the campaigns that I've been a part of. You even get trend analysis in terms of my risk score. And at the top, you have an LLM summary based upon the actual behavior across these simulations and training content that I've participated in, as well as recommended actions for me to for you to take with me. The last thing I would add is we have the ability to integrate into your identity and access management solutions and weave in behavioral data, so including whether your employees are clicking into suspicious websites or attempting to log into platforms using their personal devices, and weave that data into their overall risk profile. With that, I'll hand it back to Sameera.
Thanks, Tamir. That was a quick overview of what it looks like in practice to set up Doppel human risk management, configure your first simulation campaign, take a look through our training library, and start to get those benchmark risk insights for your organization. But what I really want to highlight is that it doesn't take long to start to see value from those things. It's really easy to get up and running, and you can see the impact really quickly. This is just one example of a Fortune 50 organization and some of the impact that they saw in just 2 weeks with Doppel's human risk management solution. They experienced an average of 8.8 minutes in talk time between Doppel's voice agents and their human contact center agents. So, after navigating wait times and IVR phone trees, they found that their agents were spending an average of almost 10 minutes on the phone with these agents. And they gleaned really valuable insights, like a 12% protocol violation rate. That means that 12% of the calls that were committed, that were placed, and part of this campaign actually led to a protocol being violated. So they now have insight into where they can make the most impact by reinforcing training content or tightening up technical controls. That was just a quick look at Doppel's human risk management solution and how companies can make the move from legacy security awareness training to modern HRM. Doppel makes the upgrade easy, so before you know it, you can be running multi-channel simulations across voice calls, SMS, Zoom meetings, team meetings, and much more. Your teams will be raving about your new tailored training content, customized courses, and interactive 3D worlds that they can experience as a part of their learning journey. And you'll have real, meaningful benchmarks for where risk lives within your organization, so you have a data-driven manner of identifying the best next steps to help tighten up your security posture even more. The move from SAT to HRM isn't about replacing training, it's about finally testing whether your organization can withstand actual attacks like the ones that your employees are facing every day. To see what this looks like in your environment, we'd be happy to schedule a call to show you a demo and get you access to our free trial. Thanks so much for joining, and we look forward to chatting with you soon.